Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are all doing well. If it is your first time here, my name is Han and welcome to the channel. I am so excited for today's video, you guys. I think this video is gonna be absolutely incredible. I think you guys are gonna get so much out of it, and it has really allowed me to thrive and flourish. I have had my moments of crashing out, but for the most part, I have been implementing this in my life for a very long time, alhamdulillah. What we're going to be talking about is how to master detachment and really aligning this concept and idea with Islam and kind of intertwining it with different verses from the Quran. If this sounds like your type of video, do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Make sure to like and comment if you do enjoy the video. And without further ado, let's get this video started. Today's video is something that is deeply personal because it is something that I truly believe can genuinely transform your life, and that is the art of letting go. Or as we like to say in Islam, learning how to implement the concept of tawakkul in your life, which is having full trust and surrendering yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I have found that when we cling very tightly to outcomes like relationships, friendships, material goals, oftentimes doing that will cause us to block our own blessings. And today I'm going to be sharing with you exactly how mastering detachment or letting go gracefully can actually change your life for the better. Have you guys ever felt like the harder you chase after something, the more elusive that thing becomes? There is actually a profound truth behind this. When you learn to let go, you are creating space for miracles, and you are allowing space for your du'as to get accepted and for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you those blessings. As the Quran beautifully reminds us, and whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him. And this principle of tawakkul really aligns so seamlessly with the concept of detachment, because it's really all about surrendering and having full trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and having that will really allow you to cultivate a space for inner peace. Now, first, before we even go into how to do it, we first need to really understand what detachment is. Detachment isn't necessarily emotional numbness or indifference. A better way of viewing detachment is that it is the mindful practice of allowing yourself to fully experience life without becoming emotionally dependent on any type of specific outcome. And when you have detachment, it will actually empower you to maintain a sense of gratitude. It allows you to feel a lot more calmer. You're not too tied up on what your external circumstances look like, because you understand that those are things that are beyond your control. You can only control what's in front of you. You can only control what you're physically able to control. Anything outside of that is not yours. And when you're able to have that understanding, life is a lot more seamless for you. Things get a lot more easier for you. A way to think about this is thinking about detachment as freedom. It's the freedom and the ability to remain calm and really trusting that what is meant for you is yours and will always align for you in your life, and what is not meant for you is not yours. That door that is meant for you was always your door. That door was always your path. But if it's not meant for you, it just means that something better is planned for you and that something better will come for you. It's truly accepting that. And when you accept that, more blessings will come in your life. Sometimes we get too tied up on what we think is best for us, but the reality is we don't actually know what's best for us. We think we know ourselves and we think we know what's good for us. But have you ever had a situation in your life where you thought you wanted something, and when you didn't get that thing, something better came along the way instead, and you realized, wow, my life would have been so different if I got the thing that I actually thought I wanted, but instead this blessing came into my life, and I'm so glad it did, because it just makes so much sense. Have you guys ever experienced that? That is the perfect definition of what is meant for you is yours, and what is not meant for you is not meant for you. Your rizq is already written. Your blessings are already written. Detachment is being able to fully engage in your life while also simultaneously letting go of control and fear over things that are beyond your influence. Now that we understand the concept of detachment, let's talk a little bit about how attachment can actually harm us. Attachment will often disguise itself as love, as passion. The reality is attachment is actually fear dressed up as desire. There have been many studies that have actually shown that chronic attachment to outcomes will trigger things like stress, anxiety, depression, paranoia. It can lead to a lot of really negative effects. And psychologically, this is due to something called outcome dependence, where your happiness really depends on a very specific result. And when that thing doesn't happen for you, it will cause you to have very deep emotional turmoil. I've actually personally noticed this for myself. I have found for myself that the more I desperately wanted a particular outcome, whether it was a milestone, material things, whatever it was, the unhappier I became when those things didn't materialize in the way that I had initially envisioned. And Islamically, we're actually reminded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that perhaps you dislike a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you, and Allah knows while you know not. And this verse perfectly highlights that attachment really blinds us from the bigger picture, that there is an unseen wisdom behind every single outcome in our lives. So now that we understand what detachment is and how attachment can actually harm us, let's dive deep into the practical steps on how you can actually practice detachment. The first thing here is actually identifying what your attachments are. You need to be really honest with yourself and really sit and ask, what are the things that I constantly think about? Or do I think about wanting to make money all the time? Do I think about wanting to get married, kids? So am I really attached to a specific job promotion? Am I really attached to maintaining a particular relationship or acquiring a certain lifestyle? What are some things that you find yourself constantly thinking about? I want you to really think about that, really acknowledge it, even write it down if you have to, and really understand that these are things that have been consuming you. Second is to practice acceptance, or another way of thinking about this is radical acceptance. And that is really accepting reality as it is. In reality, we are human beings. We all struggle with chasing after our desires and chasing after the things that we want in this life. After all, this life is a test and this life is an illusion, and there are things that we want. We're all guilty of it, including myself. But I want you to really accept reality as it is, not as you wish it were. For example, if a friendship in your life has ended, instead of really obsessing over the fact that that friendship is over, accept the fact that the purpose of that friendship has been fulfilled and allow yourself to move forward gracefully. Really accepting the fact that when you're faced with a challenge, when you're faced with something in your life, when you're faced with a particular test, there is no point in sitting there obsessing over the fact that it is not working out in the way that you would have liked, that it's not materializing the way that you initially expected it to. And instead letting that thing go and allowing yourself to give space for new things to come into your life. The third thing is to cultivate emotional independence. Now, what this means is really normalizing spending intentional time alone. Now, I'm not saying that community is not important. I think it's very important to be in community. I myself am a social butterfly. I need to be in community in order to thrive. I need to be with people, but I also intentionally make time with myself to be alone. The reason I do this is because I have learned the joy of doing things on my own, because when I do things for myself, I'm really taking away the need for external validation. Everything that I'm doing in that moment is for myself. Nobody sees it. There are things that I do that I personally enjoy doing, and no one is a witness to that thing because it is for me. You know, really cultivating a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that time. I think that naturally we are so consumed with day-to-day life because it is a distraction, like I said, and sometimes we forget our main purpose in this life, which is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when I say cultivating that time for yourself, in that time as well, really trying your best to develop a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So making time for dua, making time for asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for emotional strength, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow you to feel more content with the cards that you have been dealt with in your life, and really asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you ease. God literally has 99 names. And if you really learn his 99 names and understand his 99 names, you will understand who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is and who he tells us that he is. Allah is always listening. Allah is always listening. If you really feel like you are struggling right now, if you really, there are things that you so badly want, but you find it so hard to let go of that control, you find it so hard to release yourself from that thing that you really want, it is more than likely that the reason you have this obsession is because there is a strain between your relationship with yourself and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the minute that you work on mending that relationship, you will feel at ease. Why? Because you fully trust that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan makes sense and he will never forsake you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never do something that is not good for you. He always looks after our best interest, and it will always be things that in that moment when you're faced with that test that you will not understand. You may have failed an exam. You don't understand why you failed that exam. You know, you've studied really hard and it didn't work out the way that you wanted, but 5 years down the line, you're working your dream job. I needed an iced coffee break there. Failing that exam is not the end of the world. You're still healthy, you're still breathing, you're still active. That door that closed didn't close other blessings for you. It's really understanding that when things don't go your way and when you don't get the things that you want in this very moment, it does not mean that it will not happen for you or that better things are not coming. And that is really the art of letting go. When I talk about cultivating emotional independence, I mean creating that space of intentional alone time where you can connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where you can create that space to make make dua and to really develop that relationship, because the minute that you do that, it will be easier for you to let go because you fully trust him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like your best friend. You know he has your back. You know that he has good things planned for you. So you're not worried anymore and you're fully able to take a seat back, do the best that you can, and leave it to him. Next is really reframing your mindset. Our brains are very powerful. You guys know I talk about the brain like I did in my last video, and I talked about how your brain is very, very powerful. Learning how to control certain thoughts will change what your day-to-day looks like. And just choosing to make the decision of changing how you think alone is so, so powerful. When you shift your thoughts from a scarcity mindset and you shift your thoughts from saying things like, I have to have this thing, to an abundance mindset, and you tell yourself, I already have everything I need, and I know and I have full trust that more is on its way. For example, instead of saying things like, I desperately need this relationship in order to feel happy, you would instead remind yourself, I am worthy and complete regardless of whether I am in a relationship or not, and love and happiness will flow naturally to me. Do you see the difference between having a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset? When you have a scarcity mindset, you're limiting yourself. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? You've already created this mindset in your head, intentionally told yourself that this thing is not going to work out for me and it's never meant for me, therefore what's the point? Versus when you have an abundance mindset. Why is it an abundance mindset? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is abundant, and he's abundant in the blessings that he gives you, and he is abundant in what he can give you, and there is no limit in the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give you. And when you have full trust in that, you change in the way that you think. You say, I know these things are coming for me. I know those doors are open for me. And I know those doors will be open for me. And the doors that are open for me are the ones that are meant for me in the first place. Really leaning into tawakkul and trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After you have done your best, after you have tried, you consciously surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and leave the outcomes to him because he knows what's best for you. Really making dua. Call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by one of his grand 99 names and saying things like, for example, Ya Allah, grant me what's best for my soul and not what my ego desires. The Prophet ﷺ himself said, you were to rely upon Allah with proper reliance. He would provide for you as he provides for the birds. They go out hungry in the morning and return full in the evening. Birds wake up in the morning trusting that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to provide. The trees stand still knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide rain to feed them, and he does. This is really the ultimate expression of healthy detachment, trusting after you've put in your effort. Now, learning to let go is not only powerful, but it also makes you magnetic. It makes you very interesting, and it also brings in a lot of good things in your life. When you master detachment, a lot of amazing things will happen for you. You yourself will become more magnetic. When I talk about magnetic, I'm talking about your energy. I'm talking about when you chase after things desperately, you emit an energy of lack. But when you detach and you fully trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan, you can see through the nur in your face that you radiate calmness and really full confidence in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that shift that you feel inside of you will also be shown externally. And it will really, really impact how the world reacts to you and how they treat you. You can also think about this in a very practical way, right? Naturally, people are very attracted and pulled into someone who radiates self-confidence and not desperation. And we see that a lot. When you radiate confidence, when you have this particular type of energy, you bring in good people in your life. I will say that letting go is not a one-time event, and it's not something that happens in a split second. It takes time, and it is a lifelong journey. It will literally be like this, because there will be moments where it will be easier for you to practice the law of detachment and to understand why you need to be detached and to take a step back. And usually it will be easier for you when that relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is good. Why? Because your iman is in a good place and you fully trust him, so you feel at ease. And it may be harder to practice detachment when your iman is lower, when your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in the best place. Why? Because your iman is low and now you're trusting yourself instead of trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the more you choose trust over fear, the better things will turn out for you. And just remember that having setbacks is completely normal, because we're human beings and we have flaws and we're going to be tested, and all of that is a part of life. Find joy in the process and not just the outcome. The Prophet ﷺ really taught us beautifully to really live in a state of gratitude, and really understanding and trying your best to practice tawakkul will allow your heart to feel at ease, and it will make life's unpredictability beautiful instead of stressful. So to wrap this all up, I will just say to remind you that letting go isn't losing. but instead you're actually creating space for better blessings to come into your life. And when you think about detachment and you intertwine the concept of detachment with tawakkul, it will really transform your entire life and allow you to feel more at ease. Good is coming for you, inshallah, inshallah, inshallah. And that never look at your tests as being something that is forever. It is a test, it is a season in your life, and that blessings will come your way, inshallah. Always stick to having an abundance mindset and trusting that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is abundant and good things will come, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I really hope that this video was helpful and that it made sense and you guys understand exactly what I'm talking about. If you did find it helpful, of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Love you guys. Bye.